Manchester is famous as a mill town because of the Amoskeag Manufacturing Corporation. As the mills got bigger and bigger, it became more and more important to find a labor force. The French-Canadian provinces were a very fertile ground, so recruiters were sent up there to bring French-speaking people to work in the mill. Monsignor Pierre Heavey was the pastor at St. Mary's Church, which is right here in this neighborhood. His French-speaking flock was really doing well in terms of spiritual well-being, but their financial well-being was in jeopardy. Most of the immigrant workers lived in wooden tenement buildings here on the west side of Manchester. And when a three-story tenement went up, oftentimes the family's life savings would go up with the tenement because they were actually, as you've heard the legend, hiding their money under their mattresses. So there was great financial danger to his parish. So he got together with a well-known Canadian named Albert Desjardins, who was so-called founder of the credit union movement. He came here to Manchester and met with the parishioners, and they voted to form a cooperative, La Caisse Populaire Sainte Marie, which is now what we know today as St. Mary's Bank Credit Union.
My name is Dr. Silvio Dupuy. I was born and brought up here in Manchester within sight of this very museum, and it got to be even more personal because my mom lived for about 5.5 years in a second-floor apartment here. It gives you goosebumps a little bit to come and say, this is where my mom lived, this is where we had lunch, this is where we had dinner, this was her home, so you really get a pretty warm feeling about that.
The beauty of the credit union is it was actually run by the members, as opposed to a bank with an important board of trustees in absentia. This was run by local people. Membership required a $5 pledge, I guess, for lack of a better term. But in the beginning, members who wanted to join would make a 10-cent deposit each week until they built up to that $5 membership level. And at that point, they were full-fledged members of St. Mary's Bank Credit Union. And it was a true cooperative. We're talking, it's a wonderful life here.
Well, your money's in Joe's house, that's right next to yours, and in the Kennedy house, and Mrs. Maitland's house, and 100 others.
The money you borrowed for your home was actually the savings account of your neighbor, and everybody shared in that way.
Well, in terms of my family, the first mortgage that they ever got for a house was, I remember we often talked about it, was a $3,500 mortgage, and they moved from McGregor Street, moved down to Winter Street, but still in West Manchester. And that house literally put my two brothers and I through college and university studies, because every time they had a little money saved up, they went back to St. Mary's Bank, borrowed another couple of $1,000s, and the $3,500 house had about a $20,000 mortgage on it when we finally sold it. So it was their investment in the way that they raised money to put us all through school.
There's still immigrants coming to this city. Manchester is designated as a refugee resettlement area.
Chào mừng quý khách đến với St. Mary's Bank.
And St. Mary's Bank has gone to great lengths to recognize the second and third and fourth wave of immigrants who are coming into town.
Bienvenue à la Caisse Populaire Sainte Marie.
So in the way that it welcomed the French-Canadian workers back in 1908, to this day, it's still welcoming newcomers to the Manchester community.
Dobrodošli to St. Mary's Bank.
You know, we probably have 20 or more employees that can speak 13 different languages.
Pero si ellos hacen el depósito, ellos quieren body. Gracias.
If somebody walks into a branch, there's a good chance that there's going to be somebody there that can help them directly, and if they can't, we can easily put them in touch with somebody on the phone.
Bienvenido a St. Mary's Bank. 欢迎来到圣玛丽银行.
Добро пожаловать в St. Mary's Bank.
I think the immigrant population brings diversity into the community. They bring a whole new set of skills and a whole new and different culture.
There's a lot of people that come in of Polish descent, but there's just a very large, we see even in this office, just a tremendously diverse population, which even 10 years ago you didn't see in the city of Manchester. So even more so now, I think you need an institution like St. Mary's Bank who's going to focus on the different ethnic groups that are growing in the city and help them establish themselves.
We started serving the French immigrant population now several generations later, we still see our role as helping the new Americans that are coming in. It may be very different, the numbers may be very, very different, but really our goal and our mission is the same. It's to serve those, underserved, those immigrants, the new Americans. Our mission is really the same.
I like the company, what it stands for, the philosophy, and it's very involved. It's just not like any other institution. They really care about the members. I'm very proud to be part of it.
From the beginning, when St. Mary's opened, it was a pledge to be true to the members, and it's grown to this day in large part because of its willingness to embrace newcomers to this city. And I say to this day that having a passbook from St. Mary's Bank is like a passport to the city of Manchester.